Yeah, I'm just saying, like, you know, in general, I think they will probably pick it back up fairly quickly. Yeah. We've only actually seen two 2-0 series in the Challenger split so far, so Fusion hoping to continue to be another team that can make a 1-1 scoreline here and split games with NME eSports, as they did lose yesterday. And we've taken a long time for the first ban, interestingly enough. You'd think you'd have that immediately. But Zed gets dropped away. Huhi not going to get that champion again. And I think almost never again for the rest of the Challenger Series.
So all 3 games that we have seen NME play, they have banned Zed away from their opponents, whether it was TDK or Fusion. So
sure.
This is going to be their 4th game in a row. 4th first ban, Zed. So they don't want to play that champion, and Inox doesn't want to play against it.
Interesting that he's such a good playmaker and yet hasn't learned one of the bigger playmaker assassins, because like his Nidalee, his Zed, or sorry, his Nidalee, Kassadin, LeBlanc, things like that are a bit similar in style, but not going to be allowed. The Nidalee ban, this is one of the few mid-lane Nidalees that are there, is Inox. Him and Link basically the only 2 you can really point to and stand at. Say, hey, these guys bring this champ mid lane, and it hurts a whole lot. But still, not happening for Inox. The Lulu, oddly enough, not allowed for Hui. I'm a bit surprised to see that ban, just because I feel like that's... I like almost want Fusion to play those types of champions.
Yeah, Chunky Fresh played Lulu yesterday up in the top lane, and he got ran over by the Aurelia from Flares. But overall, it's not that threatening of a champion at the moment. It does okay against Aurelia in lane. It's really good at kiting her backwards and then making sure that you get the damage dealt. So they don't want to play against that. Flares here might be looking for something just more engage-oriented, something that has a lane that you can kind of just not have to deal with that lane bully. They're banning a lot of lane bullies out.
Yeah, it's actually their 4th straight Lissandra ban as well, I believe, for NME here. So Zed, Lissandra never leaving their champion select ban pools here, refusing to play against these guys.
Blue or red?
They're facing. They expected the first pick Kassadin, not going to happen here, so Fusion not allowing this from Inox. Flares has to now look at the first pick for the team. Every jungler save Nidalee, and I guess you can consider Hecarim on the table.
Well, Hecarim is actually a Flares pick.
Yeah.
That is his 2nd most played in solo queue at the moment. Loving the pony in the top lane.
Hey, why wouldn't you?
I mean, it is actually a really good pick against melee matchups. You just run around people and baton twirl forever.
Well, body drop. Speaking of streaks, by the way, 4th straight Morgana game now as well. So, NME eSports, I guess until they're shown that it doesn't work, have it play the same things and ban the same things over and over again.
I know he's also a really good Thresh player. I've seen him for the past year and a half, mostly on Thresh, but he apparently picked up Morgana or went back to it, and he's just having great showings on that champion. I would not be so... Yeah, that looks like a great lock in there for Fusion.
All right, so Rexar with Nidalee off the table. The easy, quickly grabbed jungler, the Aurelia, heavily contested top laner here. Chunky Fresh wants to go head-to-head with Flares and win that matchup. See if he can do it here in this game, and NME now have the chance to counterpick.
So having that Rek'Sai taken away from Trashy, that is his favorite champion in pretty much all of League of Legends at the moment. He's actually, when I watch him, he's the most impressive Rek'Sai I've seen. He functions very well with just his 1 damage item and then going into a Sightstone and then a Warmogs immediately. Like, that's a really, like, and that's in solo queue too, not just competitive. And he gets huge KDA lines. Like, his KDA in solo queue is ridiculous with like 60 games on that champion.
Wow.
Like, I know I'm a Rek'Sai main, and he impresses me with that champion. So you definitely want to take that away from him.
All right, so Trashy not allowed to be the impressive Rek'Sai that he so normally is. Instead, he's got to look at the rest of the jungle pool. Jarvan of Vibe, you know, fairly safe pickups here, but apparently no Rek'Sai for the man.
Yeah.
Mid lane, LeBlanc and Ahri, 2 champions we see pretty commonly mid, are still available. The Xerath also is up. We've seen Inox play most of those champions already as well. Highly contested champions such as Sivir and Kalista. There's like so many big champs available because of the, you know, the bands like Hecarim and Lulu you don't normally see. A lot more priority champions are up.
Yeah, a lot of things. Like,
Picks and bans are going slower today than most weeks, actually.
Yeah,
a lot of LCS teams like lock 20 seconds
good,
in.
Though. This is
just
good.
like, man, we're like thinking for like 45 seconds. Like, what are they gonna play?
Man, I was sitting there like, man, did we add like a minute on to all these champions?
Right?
Like, what is going on?
Did we like change the rules in 5.3? But Kalista does come through for Otter. So, now, I'm gonna say it every time. Sion is a good support champion. I expect Buddy Drop to play Morgana, but we see a lot of Morg top in the last couple of weeks. So I still think both those are flexible. And you might see Sion, you might see Morg top.
Sion, last I checked, was highest win rate support.
Yeah, in solo queue. only means so much, but
it's still fun.
It is fun. You yell at minions, and it's annoying as hell.
The base damage on his E is a little
high,
and the mana cost being 35 across all ranks is pretty forgivable. You miss it, you're just
forgivable
like...
is a friendly word to say.
You miss it, and you're just like, oh well.
I'll regen that in 7 seconds, YOLO.
The cooldown of the spell.
Great. Just press E at all times. It does make you auto-shove, though, and Sion doesn't have any escapes pre-6, so there's things you can punish in competitive, which, hey, by the way, part of the reason maybe they're not playing it quite so much is auto-pushing is maybe a weak thing to do. LeBlanc, though, comes in for who he snatches that away from Inox, says, I'll show you how to do it better. And Janna, a disengaged support coming in for Trance to help Nian with whatever AD carry he chooses to play.
Yeah, you want to auto-attack the Callista and beat them in lane with auto attacks, so Janna really helps you accomplish that with the shield. So that's a really good pickup whenever you're against a Callista.
Yeah, and actually I think it allows you to play Sivir in the matchup while normally it would be pretty weak because you rely on Boomerang Blade for trades and can't hit them against Callista much. The Janna shield makes it so easy to do so. Morgana, a low damage support, can't pop the shield. There's a lot of mechanics that essentially mean, hey, Sivir Janna would do pretty well against that combo down there, provided you can dodge Dark Bindings. Now, Fusion, a lot of individual playmaking. It looks fairly like, okay, look, Chunky, you can go split push, but otherwise it's pretty heavily about picks and catch people off in the jungle, catch people off in tower dives. And Fusion, I mean, Sivir and Graves would actually both help do that pretty well.
Yeah, and Graves would be a really good lane if they picked it up against the Callista. Sivir, we have seen some Sivir lanes against Callista. It's not always the best.
Sometimes I see it work, though.
Sometimes it works. Sometimes it falls flat on its face. It really happens. It really revolves around who gets that first advantage and who gets the lane shove first. Because Callista can get it if you're just constantly auto-attacking, constantly rending, and you're like rending 3 at the same time. But Sivir has a really good job, really easy job of shoving mini waves very, very quickly.
Yeah. You know, champion we haven't seen him get to play yet. That one.
Rengar?
Rengar for Trashy. So, he's gotten it banned away from him so many times, I forgot he played it.
So, if he locks that in, it's not completely hopeless because he's European. So it's not technically a North American Rengar.
That'd be like saying Crumbs is good because he's like born in Venezuela.
Yeah. I mean, Impaler's Rengar was pretty good.
That's true.
Before, so.
Yeah, no, I mean,
it's the,
I guess when you get
it's the running joke,
it's when you get citizenship, you lose your ability to play
joke.
Rengar. Crumbs being a Canadian citizen, I guess that makes it happen there.
There you go.
All right, citizenship makes you lose Rengar skills, guys. Don't immigrate to America if you want to play that champion. Ahri will come through for Inox, so playing the reverse matchup of yesterday. Now, in fact, even the jungle matchup basically got reversed there. It was actually Rek'Sai LeBlanc against Ahri and Jarvan, so a little bit different, but still, NME have the chance to show them what's up. They can actually still win the mid lane matchup.
Yeah, if you win this mid lane matchup and you swapped it around and you crush the other person with that matchup, that's very demoralizing. Because you're not just saying that I can beat you. It's like, I can beat you under the circumstances that you had against me.
Yeah, I'm surely just a better player than you. Can't blame the matchup. Graves does come through for Nian here, so a burst damage AD carry to help with all those picks happen. Now he won't get them. He won't help them get into position for those picks, which a Sivir would have done, but he will help with follow-up. So it's up to the ward control and really vision denial for Fusion to get those picks. NME, in the meantime, they've got a Rengar running around making plays, and then champions can just follow up because they want to, because like Callista and Sion exist.
Callista and Sion definitely do
Callista like throw people in. Sorry, I know I wasn't very specific, right? Callista throwing in a Morgana is one of the craziest, most difficult things to deal with in the game.
I love that kind of synergy between them, because when you throw in a melee champion, they bounce back not so far.
Right.
But if you throw in a ranged champion, they bounce back a little further. But it's still in her Soul Shackle tether range.
Right. And
she's a ranged champion that benefits from being thrown in and also can trigger your Sentinel very easily. So she's very similar to an Annie in how she accomplishes that. Because like if you throw in a Janna, it's not that great.
She often just dies.
Yeah, exactly. You just throw her in and it's like, what am I doing? And then
blowing wind around.
Trying to disengage people, and that's about what you can do with the Janna pick there. But she is ranged and she gets to use your Sentinel, but this is a champion that gets to use all of Callista's kit.
Yeah, I think she's one of my favorite supports to play with Callista. Yeah, I think you bounce back to auto attack range, and Morg's being like in the 400-ish range means she's like right there ready to rock some people. So I think there's a lot of really good combos for the enemy lineup. Guys, while we wait for the game to load, tell us what you who you think rather will take this matchup. Tweet hashtag NME win. NME win, or hashtag FSN win to @LOL eSports. We will check the vote a few minutes into the game. Sion, Rengar, Ahri, Callista, Morgana. for Fusion, and Aurelia, Rek'Sai, LeBlanc, Graves, Janna here for Fusion. I think it's a bit of a scattered comp for Fusion. NME, I feel like, have a little bit better playmaking available to them. But you still have to see how the game actually plays out. The split push power of Aurelia, I think, is a very strong one, and it is a way for Fusion to leverage a big advantage in this game.
Yeah, the split push power and the fact that they're going to have somebody answer it. And I don't know who can really answer the Aurelia on NME's squad. You have a Sion, which can kind of be an immovable wall, but you want him to help you engage these fights. Because a Sion running in at the same time, like basically jogging alongside a Rengar, is how you want to start these fights on NME.
And so we'll see if we can make that happen. One fun combo or interaction I always like to talk about is black shielding your core engaged target against champions like Janna or Azir, because they'll be immune to all the knockback effects. But if you end up being the only guy going in because the rest of your team gets knocked out, then he ends up getting solo killed. So you've got to keep that in mind on both edges of this matchup. Inox missed the first skill shot of the game. He lands it, though. Big damage output here.
Got to get that ward.
Oh, he's just staying for autos. Oh, takes the Q. Close fight, guys.
At that point, you're pretty much just like, I'm going to throw some skill shots at him just because. They both have to, well, at least Inox has to back no matter what.
Oh, ward kill. Fusion up by 10 gold this game.
First ward. Oh, Trashy doesn't get the return, though. Doesn't get to kill that ward. Sometimes those wards just seem to disappear a little faster.
Ooh. All right, another aggressive trinket. This will actually watch Sion if he goes for the Wolf Camp start, which you expect typically from Sion. And he's going to recall back to try to slink into that camp unnoticed.
Minions have spawned.
Minions spawn. Jungle camps in 20 seconds here. Trashy will be starting bottom side with the duo lane.
Nope.
Oh, no, I take it back. It's Morgana waiting around near the mid. Kalista will be running top side.
Flares is going to start at the Raptors because it got warded. If he doesn't show himself here to that ward right on the right side of the Raptors, then he'll be good to go.
Oh, hit it early.
No. Oh, no.
Misses some of that damage out, but he's actually killing some of the small ones off.
Yeah, you kill the small ones off, and then you kill the big one with your passive.
Now, Trashy forced to solo the red buff. It's going to hurt him quite a bit. Smites for health. Looks like with Q spam, he'll be fine. Sion slowly knocking that down. Trance, given level 2 and solo XP, seeing the lane swap, Neonton's will be soloing the bot lane, and a level 2 Janna will be able to roam around the map. I assume with Zephyr at level 2 to make that roaming faster.
Yeah, that level 2 Janna, it's a really big terror. It's going to take over this game immediately, that solo experience. I actually like that, though, because now he gets to roam around the map. Now he gets to go into this 2-on-2 lane and have an experience advantage so that they can actually push this out and maybe apply some pressure to NME. It's a questionable thing, but they might be able to do it.
It looks like actually he hasn't learned Zephyr. That is going to be most likely Howling Gale, since I don't see a little birdie flying around. Unless he saved the point. Otter did learn Sentinel at level 1, of course. Use that to try to scout the jungle, get some extra vision control early on. A slow pushed lane. Aurelia will not get very much farm down here, but the fact that Sion gets a 1-on-1 versus Graves means I expect Flares to have a better time in the overall lane swap game.
Neontonso doesn't have a freeze going for him either. It's pretty much just slapping these. Chunky Fresh, front back. Oh,
finding hits though really bad.
Yes.
Chunky Fresh forced to burn the exhaust and flash to keep the man alive.
Yeah, Chunky Fresh was going to eat a big rend there. Wouldn't have been enough to kill him, but the exhaust just for the insurance.
Yeah, I mean, if they kept chasing, they make life real painful. So, not going to happen, though. 2-7 is burned. Nintendo gets his own blue buff tunneling around the map. They do not have any tabs, I believe, on the Rengar jungle, though, so no news on what Trashy's up to.
Trashy with a little bit of a slower start. One of his camps is taken on his side. He also has to solo his first buff. So he immediately backs to get the Trailblazer to help him out in this early game. And yeah, Flares is having an okay time in this bottom lane. Trashy, though, he's really going to have to farm up and wait till 6. Hopefully, for enemy side, Inox is self-sufficient in this mid lane. That's really what you rely on in the lane swap, is if you lose a solo kill in mid lane, the game, it's very easy to get out of control. because then that mid laner has more shoving power, can go affect the side lanes,
True.
free up your duo. There's a lot of things that go wrong if the solo kill happens, especially in a lane swap.
You got to be careful then on both sides. Huhi is actually pushed across the river, and that lane won't push. Actually, it will push back to him now as the wave is bigger for Inox. Fan vote saying that NME is likely to win this game. Lanes get swapped back as well in real time. So 4 minutes 50 into the game. Level 4 Flares versus level 4 Chunky Fresh. But Flares has a freeze if he wants it.
Flares has a lot of available gold to him here. He's going to have a CS advantage over Chunky Fresh. But the gold's still very even right now. It was about 300 in favor of Fusion a second ago, but it's just these waves fluctuating back and forth.
All right. So now I got to watch how these matchups actually go. Looks like Niantanso has stayed in this lane, so he has gotten no new purchases. Boots and a potion. One of the few AD carries that actually care about buying boots early on because of the dash range increase. Callista, she did recall to catch this lane, and in fact managed to keep equal CS despite having to recall. So I got to say, Otter should be doing better in this matchup thanks to having potions and boots. We'll see if that ends up actually being the case, though.
He is a little bit behind in experience, but Niantanso has no mana. He can't shove this out, so he's going to have a staggered back. His turtle takes some damage. But overall, this bottom lane is actually a little bit in favor of NME.
Yeah, so far it's looking okay with the staggered back difference here. We'll see if that
he didn't
continues.
get the back.
Interesting. Okay, so it's going to be weird watching the dynamics of that bot lane recall. Current gold for Graves is only 1,200, so you can do pickaxe potions, or you can wait 3 to 4 waves to afford a BF sword. I don't know how long he wants to stay under his turret like this, though, and how much CS he can get while being pressured.
So if he can stay here, not get pressured by a Rengar, which is very unlikely, and soak up, possibly just use his mana regen and stay under that turret, he'll be in good shape, but you don't want to back and have to buy a pickaxe that early on, especially when your lane opponent's just going to sit there and soak another wave.
True. Ooh, oh, jumped back a little bit too soon. Took the second half of that Q, but some really interesting plays to try to knock down Inox and make his life miserable. 8 minion lead. Huhi is doing well in this reverse matchup, so it seems like the LeBlancs in both cases have been having easier times in the fights.
That shoots up to 15 CS advantage, shoves that wave all the way up. Trashy, he's going to be able to absorb this wave, though. So his level 6 is going to be a little closer than Nintendude's.
That could be a big deal. Early Rengar ganks are scary things.
There it is.
Nintendude only 5.25. Yep. Level 6 Rengar is here now. Nintendude slowly killing the Rift Scuttler.
Get back here.
Gets it with the burrowed Q. A little bit more money gained for the man. Both these junglers have a long score to go with their Trailblazers.
Still no back for Niantanso just yet. He backs, gets his BF sword, and now this is Otter being able to shove up. Oh, the chain!
There's Nintendude. Will he go for the flash on Burrow? No, wants to bait out the ulti. Inox will just do a little bit of damage and back on out. Kills off a tunnel all the same.
That was pretty much a repeat of the replay we saw earlier when a LeBlanc just landed a chain on an Ahri and Rek'Sai came in for the knockup. Nintendude not closing that distance, though, and the level 6 for Inox allowing him the escape.
All right, so all's well that ends well. Ulti burn, nothing else happens. Now, a lot of vision control came out for NME just now. They realize their ulti's down. A ward from Trashy and a trigger ward from Inox are going to spot most of Nintendude's gank paths here. Trashy, level 6, will once again build 5 Ferocity, and we'll see if anything more happens to the man.
If he builds 5 and holds on to it, then he definitely has the idea that he wants to go for a gank.
Pink ward by Chunky Fresh actually means maybe he wants Nintendude to slink into his lane. The recall means Moby Boots and a potion for Trashy. That's also a big signal you want to go in for the gank.
He's got to hand off his blue, though, to Inox. Inox is constantly running out of mana in this lane, so he's going to need that ASAP just to make it so that he's more self-sufficient and that he's able to hold on to this lane against Huhi, who's right now almost 20 CS up.
You see Nintendude happy to play with the early Warrior enchant and a pink ward to try to get his team some vision control. Will hand off the blue buff first. Huhi will have a push lead. Then I expect Inox to potentially lose some minions on this buff attempt. You can see here running off to the left. They expect to have the timer because of this. We'll see if Huhi can push this next wave in or if Inox can get back to lane in time. Looks like it's going to be the latter. The blue buff means he will not lose much. Huhi Slinking in the shadows, wards something.
Oh, it looks like Trashy's looking for a gank top.
All right, now the new pink ward
through the lane.
Had been to the river. That got cleared back out, though, by flares. Land gank well out of reach of any vision. Chunky Fresh, though, that wave is pushing down and left, meaning he will have to overextend soon if he wants any more minion kills.
Right now, Nintendo trying to look for ganks desperately on this Rek'Sai. He can go back to farming, but right now it just seems to be all about trying to get pressure on the map. And there he goes for a level 7 Dragon. You can solo this as Rek'Sai at level 7. It's quite simple, but they do see that the Dragon's been pulled out.
The thing is, they don't see Nintendo's icon on the map, so unless they are specifically watching that section of the map, they don't know that Dragon's been started here, because there's no new information. It's not like there's an icon that travels around that you can see easily. So while they'll get the timer, I don't really know if NME actually saw it happen.
They saw Dragon get pulled out, though.
Only if they're watching the minimap that closely.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you could if you scrolled over, but did they?
Yeah. They just saw, they pinged it afterwards. They're like, oh, somebody did it.
Yeah.
Right?
They're like, oh, the icon's gone. Oh, crap.
Yeah. But you're right. It would not alert them because they didn't see him with the ward vision. Because nobody looked over. Everybody's paying attention to their lanes.
Right, right. So, hey, even though it was warded, kind of snuck it. Otter and body drop.
Right under their noses.
Are actually nursing a slight minion deficit here. They both managed to recall for BF. Swords, another trade-in. He wants to knock down Inox. Nintendo is around. Ulti has been burned. Will not go for the knockout because Trashy is right there. They don't want to do too much more. Oh, wow. More burst on Inox. Huhi continuing to trade as best he can.
Inox's charms. You're just waiting for them to land on something, and they're landing too early. Oh, body drop.
A big trade here, but Body Drop wants to re-engage, and this one exhausts use on the console, means he cannot re-engage much. A big chunk onto Trance, shields himself. Summoner he'll use as well. The Entanso ults, Q's flash away by Otter, and now Science TBD from the back does not slow Trance, though, and actually Chunky Fresh will cancel his, get a farm lead up there, and it's nothing for nothing.
Flares threw out the ultimate, too, didn't hit anybody with it, and that's going to allow them to push this middle lane up because they know Inox is back.
Wow, so look at this, really nice job. Just the pressure allowing some turret damage, no TP counter, and Fusion off to a slight early lead here. Well played.
And they're going to get more turret damage on this top lane. And a lot of this was just off of the fact that they bullied Inox out of the lane. They knew he couldn't be around. They push it out. And then bottom, pushing that advantage. There's a 20 CS lead in mid lane, 30 CS now, and almost 20 in this bot lane for Fusion.
Yep. And heck, as we kind of put out of the matchup, but yeah, it's a top lane lead versus a bottom lane lead essentially here. And I gotta see then what Flares can do with his lead. Chunky Fresh getting a bit of time to solo farm helps him catch up a little bit. Wow. Long range binding slows down Nian, and NME gonna get themselves a non-disadvantaged recall. Q not in range. Nice try.
You want to stop it as much as you possibly can and have more minions clash against the turret. Very interesting here from Otter is he's going for the BF sword first. It could be an IE build. We've been seeing this in Korea a little bit. Some of the top AD carries are actually seeing success with the IE build as opposed to the Runans.
Yeah. And it will knock on the turret pretty quickly. Graves not around. The Janna shield only buys a bit of time. Enemy actually, this could actually build a freeze as well because the minion wave will be stacked up on Fusion's side of the map.
Yep, they'll get those reinforcements sooner. Here's the thing though, Trashy is around that bottom side. He has 5 ferocity, and if he ganks down this super long lane, it could be good for them. But look at this. Here comes Nintendude and Huhi. They were seen by wards. Both of them know their presence. The jig is up.
Yeah, which means just a ward goes down and out they go. Sweeper's almost up for body drop though, meaning he can re-sweep the ward that went down in Tribrush.
Yep.
Trashy slinking around.
He saw it was pulled.
Yeah, he sees red buff is pulled thanks to the tremor sense.
Sentinel. He's going to go off to the side.
You'll see that no one... no, a couple guys were there.
It was lazy.
Then he wants to steal, doesn't quite get it against Trashy. Nice attempt though, will clear the rest of the camp. So they have a timer on both sides, I believe, but red buff did go to Trashy all the same. Another engage there. Huhi lands the combo, gets away from Inox, no charm.
Still wins though in an all-out trade. Inox actually having to rush an Abyssal Scepter here.
Oh, very interesting. I saw a Phoenix Codex and a No Magic Mantle, and I was like, oh, he's going to go for an Athenes, whatever. Now goes for Abyssal against a single AP team. We're seeing Abyssal be more and more common even without a lot of magic damage threats on the enemy team.
Is Trashy going to hit the ultimate? Nope. He is not ultied this game, I believe.
No.
He's waiting for the opportunity. This is a very long lane. If you can chase them down it'll be good for enemy.
And it's interesting to see that it feels like both teams are happy to extend the laning phase in a sense.
Oh man, here comes the roam from Huhi again.
He's going to try for the bot lane. They swept out some of the wards. He's going to walk over one right now, though. He's going to get spotted. In comes, sees Trashy, jumps right away. Says, hold on a second.
Oh, what's up? Hey.
That's an empowered Rengar, but bot lane still pressured all the same. He saw who was around. And look, it was enough just for the lane to pressure. Now, mid lane's gone down thanks to Huhi. Bot lane's gone down thanks to Niantanso and Trance. And it's only top lane's been losing for Fusion. So 2 lanes to 1 in farm and turret kills.
It's pretty crazy, too, because it's a very distinguishable lead, too. It's not like, oh, 10 CS. It's 30 CS mid, 20 bottom, and then in top it's 30 as well.
Right.
So very lopsided here across the map, but in different places.
So once again, it just matters what can Graves and LeBlanc do with their leads, what can Sion do with his lead. My money is on Sion not being enough of a bully in a team fight sense to make his lead matter a lot, but that could always be proven wrong. Frozen Heart early will stymie some of Niantanso's damage output attempts. We'll see if that means much. Nintendude's Tremor Sense lurking around mid, saw that only Ahri was there for now. Good ward control by Fusion. They want this dragon. They've got ward control right now. There is no vision at all for enemy. Once again, looks for the trade, gets Inox to half, and with blue buff, that combo's up again in 20 seconds.
There's Trashy's ultimate, but they see Nintendude, and then they see 2 more. They also see Niantanso there. And this is a numbers advantage across the board for Fusion.
Trashy burns his ult, gets nothing for it, and the beautiful thing for Fusion is because their blue buff comes up first, they can grab it and then bully, and then no Inox has to grab blue afterwards, but right away they go for more trades. They push down mid. Inox can't help yet, and Trashy couldn't really either. That turns down to 1/4. They've still got dragon control to go back to.
The amount of pressure that both teams have had on this map is fairly even. It's like, we'll trade you a turret, but Fusion have 1 click more. They have the dragon pressure, they have the control, and their warding game around this objective has been better. Also, the pressure of Huhi is really large.
He just keeps chunking people down. Body drop, unable to defend himself at all. Dragon will go down, but in comes Flares, and the fight's going to begin. Janna's going to disengage the Q. Huhi healed up pretty nicely for this one, but the fight has begun. Trashy on the side will escape safely. Flares holding the front. Chunky Fresh low on health. Otter's going to throw in Body Drop, but Body Drop does not want to keep chasing. Huhi gets first blood in that fight, and the fight continues. Trance with Ignite on will go down to Inox. 1-for-1, knocked by the back line. Inox forced to run away, but Otter getting a bunch of damage through. Chunky Fresh, 1 hit from dead, but chased by Nintendude. These guys trading back, making it 2-on-2 in the fight. Niantanso knocked up, and Otter in a curious situation. Can he do anything more with this one? Jumps in, flashes, lands a Q slow. Ren's going to be Chunky Fresh's death, and now Niantanso has nowhere to run. A slow makes it 4-3 as 1 gets traded back onto Rengar. Enemy get the better fight, but Fusion did get Dragon.
Now it's 2 dragons for Fusion right now, but even in gold, still, that kill is going to allow them to gap a little bit of that CS advantage that Fusion has made for themselves. That fight was all over the place, and it came down to the positioning of the AD carries and where they ended up at the end of the fight. Huhi ends up getting first blood here. That was a really good ultimate by Trance. Stopped Trashy from following up on his empowered Bola strike on Huhi, and stopped Flares from charging his Q. Huhi ends up getting the first kill through this onto Body Drop, and then Inox is finally back, gets his Ignite onto Trance, he gets him through the shield, and then this becomes a very staggered, where's Niantanso go? Where is he in relation to his front line and back line? He flashes to the other side of Flares. Now he has to fight his way through a Scion. The slow, the knockup, they can't reach Otter. Their gap closers are not as reliable, and if Chunky Fresh goes in, he immediately gets burst, and then we see that happen right afterward.
Yeah.
So that fight was really about, at the end, where the AD carries put themselves in those last moments.
Yeah, look how long Flares managed to lock up Niantanso. Really nice stuff by him to make that happen. And now, 2 turrets to 2, but Dragon control letting Fusion knock down further turrets a little bit better. Might mean something. The gold's still close. We start to see these comps play out.
So Otter actually went for the BF sword, and then he just went Hurricane. He's going for the Bloodthirster build. He just went BF sword to help him last hit, to help him get some extra CS, and it also helped him out in that fight.
But did absolutely.
Having the components like a recurve bow may not have been what he would have needed in that fight for that extra damage. You saw that rend at the end. The Q rend killing Chunky Fresh would not have been possible if he had a recurve bow instead. it would not have been the same amount of damage output in just those 2 moves.
So now let's see what happens with the rest of the lanes. 3-men top lane. Fusion want to pick on Flares. I just don't know if they can right now. He's got enough ward control to stay safe. Trance clears one out. Wards over the wall to maybe find Trashy, but it's a low percentage ward there.
Again, swapping your lane, your duo lane, your AD carry into a lane that has a turret available. Right now, though, oh.
Nice spy by Body Drop. The follow-up for Otter. Wow, really going for this one. Who he forced to run Ren won't quite kill him.
This is a lot of chunking out here. Whoever who he chunks out has to back. Otter goes for a chunk there. Who he hits him with another binding.
Jeez, the skill shots by Body Drop. I wonder when he's going to stop getting Morgana. Even though he's 0-1-0, his performance on this game has been quite good all the same.
I mean, it's just like who he's 1-1-1, but the amount of damage he's been able to dish out to people to force them back is something you can't measure with just that scoreline there.
And so Fusion spent a lot of effort top. They did get the turret down, but guess what? Enemy was pushing all around the map elsewhere. Bottom tier, mid lane, outer. Once again, we are 3-3 in turret kills. Nice stun by Chunky Fresh. Good heads-up play to get away and not get CC'd. And out he goes. Angry Flares will knock down the ward and dodges the Janet Tornado.
A lot of ward control over this top side of the map, top side of the jungle from Fusion. They don't have that turret there, and I think that Chunky Fresh wants to start split pushing. He has the Trinity Force, but he's down in CS, and Flares rush the Frozen Heart. So he actually stacks up extraordinarily well with just 1 item against the Trinity Force spiked Chunky Fresh. So Flares is in a really good spot to counter the split push.
I definitely agree. Attack speed, a great modifier against Aurelia, and Trinity Force dealing pretty much all physical damage, and except for the fact that AP does help your E. It does help him win those trades.
But also the fact that he has the Frozen Heart to slow the attack speed, and then on top of that, he has flat health, which is the best thing against that true damage passive of the 10 style.
Yeah, the continuing trend of Warmogs early on top laners to make them immovable bricks. That's been pretty good so far. Nintendo, farm alarm to the top lane. Just wants to keep getting his gold income up, and he's got 90 CS. This is a higher farm jungler game than we tend to see. A bit low action because of it, but certainly both these teams putting emphasis on getting their junglers big.
I don't think the junglers want to get that big from farming, though. I think they want
no opportunity.
There's no opportunities.
That's fair.
They're wanting to get, like, you would definitely want to get in a lane where you're losing by 40 CS and upset that. Right. Otter had a really good fight. He's 3-0-1, and then he overcame that CS deficit because now he has pressure, and now they're funneling farm into him because he's safe to do so. He's a very powerful target now. So Fusion can't, they'd have to allocate a lot of resources to actually take him down.
Well, they might try. Here he goes in, knocks around in there. In comes Morgana. Nian's got nowhere to go. Gets Sion ulted. In comes Inox. Finds another as well. Will they chase Janna? The answer right now appears to be no. But they will keep control over this dragon area. Who he clears the mid lane wave. It will require some effort by enemy to turn that one back around. But with a dead AD carry, there's no way you can test this dragon.
Exactly. 22 seconds on him, 8 seconds left on the dragon. That's going to be a dragon for NME. It's very hard to contest it without that. Really good engage. Really good go switch there.
Absolutely.
Stopped a lot of the damage on body drop, pulls him in, throws him out. Good timing on the Fate's call there by Otter.
There's the early rend into trusting the jungler to smite. So that's how NME is playing their objective control, is rend early, then rely on trash. You can do it the other way around, but that's right now what they are doing here. 23 minutes in, NME find their first dragon. They also have a pretty much identical gold game compared to Fusion, just in different places. Huhi now on split push duty. He's got the most farm on his team, and actually in the game, by a significant margin. He won his lane. He made mid-turret go down. He was trying to roam, couldn't find the kills for it, though. But he's creating as much map pressure as possible. Fusion, in response, or actually I would say alongside, are getting ward control over the southern jungle to complement him, to keep that split push into a good spot. Maybe that'll work for him.
When I think of Huhi, I think of a split pushing mid laner. Every time I saw him in the expansion tournament, when I first caught eye on him, he was always split pushing. They stopped flares. He's going to go for the TP, though.
That's going to be him getting out
of there.
All right, he burned the ulti, but it got blocked by Chunky Fresh. Popped the teleport, and he was too low to not get stunned. Too low to get stunned, I should say. Bottom lane fight back and forth. Otter getting a pretty bad trade there, but it's who he actually wanted to get away from that one. despite him igniting in the middle of that fight.
Yep, didn't land his chain, and the consistent damage, if he had just stuck around, would have been higher for Otter.
So wanted to burst, didn't quite land it, out he goes. Inox gets time to clear the mid lane out.
Ooh.
As a result.
Immediately picks up a no magic mantle on Otter. He has the makings of a Hex Drinker.
You know, this is one of the champions I hate Hex Drinker least on.
I don't think he'll actually build it. I think he'll go Last Whisper, and that'll be a Banshee's fail.
Yeah, Last Whisper Cowl I think is definitely the right choice here. You are certainly, I would say, only afraid of LeBlanc in team fights. Certainly Aurelia can harass you, Rek'Sai can as well, but you can't build for all these guys. So we'll see what that build turns into. He's still, keep in mind, he is the team's biggest damage source.
Yes.
If you go too defensively, this team loses out all their damage output. So some things to be concerned about. NME might look for Nintendo here. He built as tanky as he could. He's got a Randuin's, and that will allow him to get away from this. His squishy Rek'Sai would have likely died there. Town takes it slow, doesn't care too much though. And Huhi, yeah, he's like, you know what, he might charm me. Let's leave.
Been looking for those charms from Inox all game long. They've been coming out, but they haven't been hitting their mark just yet. He's not down as far as he was in CS previously, and the CS across the board is now, it was kind of more expanded than this. We were seeing 30s and 40s in differences. Now we're seeing back to 20s and 30s. So it's kind of rubber banding a little bit.
It's true, yeah. They're kind of back to where they were a little while ago. Essentially, the teams have sort of equalized through the last 10 minutes.
This will be a numbers advantage for NME no matter what.
3 versus 2, no matter what. Chunky does flash the charm, but Inox looks for the bind with body drop, hits it, but there's no follow-up anymore. Thanks to being Aurelia, that is a short bind, so Flash is lost.
And they immediately go top after Trashy here, looking for him. They can see him, though. They can see him.
A Naka pink ward making that help Trashy forced to Flash. Exhaust is on, though. Heals up, gets the root. No heal, actually goes for the root instead. Trance gets a bit more of a knockup. They're still trying to knock him down. Nice ulti in for that one. Another knockup means they will get him, but a lot of effort for that. Black shielded flares. Oh! Huhi with a nice juke. Out he goes.
I mean, she's all about deception, right?
Definitely did that well.
So yeah, when something's invisible, you can still see them with Tremor Sense. You still see the
Oh, I didn't know that.
So he knows where Trashy is. You can do it with Shaco, too.
So that's why you got the knockout.
I love playing in Shacos, because I'm just like, you usually invade my jungle? Well, it's not, you're in here.
How's it feel, demon jerk?
Basically.
Oh, wow. Oh. How's this feel? Just see if that one, Huhi, down he goes. Otter gets the kill. Enemy now have some control. 2 minutes on Dragon, though, but Baron's up now. And that's where they're headed.
And their biggest burst threat is down right now on Fusion's side. They do have the Scuddler. There's no way that they can do this undetected, but they're going to start it up because it's so hard to steal it away from a Kalista.
No big risks. Flashes and smites up all around here.
They're not going to stop. They're going to keep doing it until they find a good engage, but they do have a lot of their engage tools down.
Well, they're trying. Trash, no ulti, does have flash. Inox pushed him back a little bit, gets Black Shield on. They are going to turn around and go for the fight and not Baron here. Otter throws in Morgana. Body drop lands a bit of a CC. Chunky Fresh forced to run away from this one, but by the way, no kills have happened yet. Fusion have delayed Baron. Flash from Niantanzo. He is not slowed by flares, and LeBlanc's coming back across the map. The Baron attempt completely failed, and Flare's taking more damage. Binding gets hit. Oh no, Nian walked into it, and in goes Sion. Another CC comes across. Flares will lose the stun, and Nian has no ulti to toss through, so he cannot turn that kill around. But Fusion hold on.
They had to back up, though. Huhi is here. He's ready to go. There he goes.
Flashes in. Inox. Oh, wow. That is only Morellanamicon, not an Ignite, but a turret goes down all the same. Fusion well played on the Baron defense.
Yep, they stagger the fight out. They don't completely take it, kite around it.
Oh my god, now they're doing it.
And now they're going to run towards it. They have Trance to heal them, even if they get low. He can just pop his Monsoon.
I think you definitely do it here.
Yeah, Kallista's the only person walking out, and they have complete ward control of this area from Fusion.
So Huhi not wanting to be a Baron killer. No, it goes and helps out once he realizes it's low enough. They get the Baron. Nicely done by Fusion. These guys, every single time they lose game 1, and they look real good in game 2.
I mean, they do have an extremely large support staff. Every time I talk to somebody from Fusion, I'm like, wait, how many coaches do you have? 4?
About.
They have like 4 coaches. They have a very large and very supportive support staff. They're some of the nicest people I've talked to.
It's really good.
I'm actually really happy with everybody in Challenger right now. Everybody's so pleasant to talk to as a manager.
It's good to hear. And we might be seeing up to 3 of these teams play in the LCS. So we'll be seeing them potentially on stage, or some of them on stage in summer 2015.
right now, though.
Continues on. Fusion right now, though, looking at Dragon number 3 here. They've got movement speed. They've got even better ability to make rotations. Plus, again, that Baron buff they've got for 2 minutes means they can really leverage the map control.
That Baron buff is going to give them a lot. They're trying to go for a gank here. Trashy.
Looks
it's a hard engage.
Does find Trance, but the John Tornado is going to stop the knockup, but Trance will still go down despite the Monsoon. Now, how will the rest of the fight go?
They're on the
look for body drop, but that's the wrong target. They will kill off Trashy all the same. Otter forced to back up, and a great collateral damage means the Intanso finds his second kill.
The charm!
It's a 4 versus 3 so far. Another knockup comes in. Flair's trying to contest everything, but Chunky Fresh is wreaking havoc in the back line. Now only Flair's is alive. He gets stunned up. This could be the ace. He gets the chain. Flair's goes down. 5-1 fight.
They have a lot of minions here too. Flair's just trying to thin the wave out, trying to delay it, making sure that doesn't get there, because this is an inhibitor push with all the damage that they have.
And here we go. Turret number 1, 5 seconds on Rengar, 10 on anyone else in the team. It will be at least the inhibitor. There's a big wave bottom as well. Top is pushing in towards them, but they can also steal away a red buff and a blue buff.
Largely forced fight there from NME. Wasn't completely necessary. Trashy jumps in. He doesn't even have 5 ferocity, but he jumps in onto Trash. They blow Trance up. He still gets that tick off that shoves him into Niantanso. And then this is all about, can we reach the end? Hits Nintendo a little bit, jumps after Nien, and then Otter overextends. Instead of hitting Chunky Fresh and Nintendo, he goes too hard on Niantanso, and he gets obliterated. If he had just kited back to the left, he would have been fine, but he overextended, and that's when you stop autoing, your mobility drops down substantially as Kalista. You want to constantly be autoing, even if it's somebody right in front of you who's a tank.
So really good power. These skirmishers, Chunky Fresh and Nintendo did beautifully. Nintendo actually, by the way, flash unburrowed on that chase from Kalista and was like, whoa, 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 keep Nian alive. Did so. And the single target power actually was very impressive by Fusion. So those two
calls
have done great. Yeah, absolutely great team fight play by these guys. Baron buff does time out in about 4 seconds. So Fusion will be back on equal footing, except for the fact that they now hold a 6,000 gold lead.
Yeah, not that equal.
Guess not.
Sitting around, and NME still going for those fights, though. This Rengar, you know, maybe the North Americans got into Trashy, but...
Oh, no. He's been there too long.
Oh, man. It only takes a couple days.
Oh, no. It must be something in our tap water.
Oh, man. Chunky Fresh, though. Going down to that bottom wave. It's about to crash against the tier 2. This amount of pressure is what forces NME to start fights. And that's exactly what Fusion want. He has the TP. Flair's going to come to answer this. Fuhi. Oh, wow. Yep. LeBlancs can take over games very easily. Once you get to item breakpoints like Death Cap and Avoid Staff, you are ready to deal your damage consistently and burst people out, not so that you kill them, but so they can't be involved in that fight, and then you get objectives off of that.
It requires a lot of really big outplays. Like you have to expect the distortion and charm into it.
Yeah.
Granted, you can snap back really quickly, but once you hit W the first time, you have to go that full distance. You have to land, and if the charm or the dark fighting is waiting, you catch that chance. Like this Nian. He takes the McHale's though, gets out. He's gonna stay safe. TP comes in on the back side. They're gonna jump body dropper. In comes Aurelia, and down goes the Morgana. 5 versus 4. Chunky Fresh in the back lines does see a Scion. He takes up quite a lot of damage, and actually some pretty good pain coming out from Inox, but it's not going to be enough. Niantanso just pushing everyone away, blinking health bars from the entire team at this point, and now the push for the inhibitor turret. Nian doing a fair bit of damage. He wants to find someone to pick off, can't quite kill him, but it's another turret going down. Second inhibitor will fall here as the rest of enemy heal up.
And there are super minions in the base right now, but they have to heal up. They have to get these health bars back to full. And Fusion, really, really good engage there. Really good fight from them. Really good kiting backwards and just layering their damage on top of it. Niantanso, he got caught, but the quick McHale's to free him up and allow him to kite backwards was what that fight was all about at the start.
It's kind of unfortunate watching enemy trying to play from behind because they forced an engage while Fusion had Baron. Went too hard, misplayed it, lost. This time Baron was gone. They tried to force again. But Fusion have done such a good job of kiting away and waiting for Chunky Fresh's TP to come through that those fights never quite succeed. And of course that one, with a big gold deficit, meant it was unlikely to work in the first place.
There's this rather large wave near the bot turret. Right now they're doing some bookkeeping from Fusion's side, but that looks like where they want to go next. There's no inhibitor in the mid lane or the top lane. for Enemy. Fusion want to keep the pressure up. They want to keep cracking these turrets, get the tier 2, and systematically take Enemy apart.
Trashy popped the ult, didn't find anyone. Might have used it as scouting, realizing there was no vision control. They didn't want to get jumped on by the rest of Fusion. But the rest of Fusion are showing themselves in the bot lane. That turret's going to be going down. No real chance to stop it, but Flares, the dinner bell rings. He shows up, clears a minion wave. The turret still does fall to those minions. And Fusion did escape from the Scion engage all the same.
Right now, Enemy up against the wall. They have minion waves that are about to start coming into their base. This is a huge amount of pressure on them. They don't have those engage tools either of Trashy's ultimate or Flares' ultimate to start a fight at this part of the map. So they're going to have to clear waves for a long time. That's kind of what they're relegated to right now, is clearing top, clearing mid, hoping Fusion don't dive them in the bot lane.
Well, these bindings keep landing from Body Drop. The Charm follows up. Nintendo does get pulled into the team. It just doesn't seem to matter against Warmog, Spectres, Kyle, Randu, and Zoman. Happy to take turret damage. They're happy to keep knocking this thing down. Big waves are coming in. Callista holds mid. Rengar holds top. Mid inhib is back up here, but so is Drag and Baron, meaning Fusion can take open inhibs or take neutral objectives.
A lot of objectives ready for them. There's a lot of options here. They go towards the mid. They want this inhibitor back down. Ultimate up for Trashy again. Yeah, they can't get anything off of them. Huhi!
Body Drop. Every single fight starts with Body Drop at 1/3 health because Huhi does things as LeBlanc. Wave coming in 15 seconds or so. They could really easily rush this drag and get back in time for like the next wave. Fusion, in fact, are going to back up. Looks like they will send Rek'Sai and Graves to take that. The rest of the team put a couple of defensive wards. Now, Baron is actually vision controlled by Enemy right here. They've actually got really good vision that will allow them to rush it if a misstep does happen. Nian will grab red buff here. Rejoins his team with a quick draw, and there is Dragon number 4. Minions die faster. There's the ping on Baron. Enemy, they walk by just enough wards that Fusion did put down on that most recent retreat. That with Rek'Sai, I keep wanting to say Rengar. With Rek'Sai ulti up, Fusion will be able to contest. Q over the wall. They see that no one's moving. Yeah, Huhi had to jump over to face check it. He was safe while doing the catch, Chunky fresh. But guess what? He's got the nasty. It's going to be hard. They stun Trashy. Big burst. And the jump in by Nintendo. He flash knockups and gets it 1-for-0. Now Flares tries to hold up in the front line. Otter does what he can as well. Morgana gets a massive ulti but gets pushed back by the Janna. Flares now getting chased as well, has a big enough shield to survive, but Body Drop forced a flash away. This battle is still controlled by Fusion. Niantanso is now on a rampage, 6, 2, and 4. The open inhib is all theirs.
With 2 members down, and Body Drop, oh boy.
Locket shield, not going to be enough. Auto attacks are going to secure it here. And Huhi, 3, 2, and 5, 277 minions. Mid inhib goes back down, and with only 2 members alive, this is for sure a Baron.
Fusion not getting greedy, not going for those Nexus turrets. Instead, saying, let's get the Baron. Let's have this be a very controlled game that they're slowly but surely taking over. It started from the laning phase with Huhi getting ahead in CS. Now, he's down in CS, but it doesn't matter. His team just has so much pressure, so much gold through global objectives. And the fact that they were rotating on them very crisply is what put them in this situation. 4 of the 5 dragons, both Barons falling to them. This game was cracked pretty much from when Huhi was left to his own devices.
Yeah.
He was able to take over the game. And then that Baron, where Huhi was not involved at all, and then they stopped the Baron attempt. That was what gave Fusion a big hold on this game.
Yeah, Huhi getting picked ended up being the best thing to ever happen to Fusion in this game. They got Baron off of the extended engage afterwards, so I gotta say, only smart and good things by Fusion in this game for the most part. Everything seems to have worked out. They've got a Mercurial Scimitar, Graves as well, so he really can't get picked off by bindings anymore. They can save the Mikhails on cooldown right now anyway, but another Death March attempt by Enemy. This is their 3rd time now trying to just get a random clutch engage and knock down the enemy team. The top inhib is back alive, meaning only mid lane has pressure. But there's really only 3 turrets left on the map for Enemy.
It's going to be so hard to get to Niantanso and Huhi. Huhi's so mobile, and Niantanso now has the Mercurial Scimitar as well as the Mikhails ready for him in a second.
Bodygraph keeps losing health in the end. He's going to jump away, not get locked up by Sion. Trash to the side means Trance goes down. They've lost their support. They've lost the disengage. Now, can NME do anything more? They throw in Bodydrop, but he's got to retreat right away. They're afraid of Chunky Fresh. No Zonias on the Morgana means he can't actually go for a hard engage and feel safe. Nintendo, actually, wow, early Locket Burn. That's on cooldown, blocking almost no damage at all. Might not mean much, though, with how far ahead Fusion are. They're willing to stay in this fight 4v5. Huhi pokes down Flares. Actually, meaningful damage there against the tank with very little magic resist. And they continue.
He doesn't have the magic resist. He's stacked his armor to deal with the Aurelia, to deal with the Graves. And those are two champions that right now, I don't know if NME even have the answers to them. The Graves just does so much damage. He has so many mobility options available to him. And then Chunky Fresh is just very tanky. The damage output from NME seems lower than it is.
And Flares hoped they were staying, and they weren't. Wow. Unstoppable Onslaught, by the way, 46.5-second cooldown right now. I didn't realize it got that low, but it's basically up by the time this next fight happens.
It's the Sion ultimate that I think it ends up at something like 60 seconds.
Yeah, it sounds about right with his current CDR.
It's pretty close. And then it just goes even lower with the CDR. But Flares...
Careful, Flares. Gets hit up with the Reaper. Black Shield keeps him safe. Problem is he lost down to 1,500 health, and he's not Dr. Mundo.
No.
He's not going to regen all that.
He's got to go back to base. He can TP in. He can use his ultimate. If he wants to flank, he has the option available. But getting through this team is so difficult. Body drop. Just has a target on his back right now. There's the ultimate.
And it's going to be Chunky Fresh who tanks it with a... Banshee's Valence, but I was going to say Black Shield. That's not correct at all. Yeah. And then Trance immediately knocks out Flares right after. Perfectly times that for the ulti to end, and nothing at all happens. Charm over the wall means nothing as well. Mid lane, once again, the focus. There is super minions right here. Dragon number 5 is in 1 minute and 4 seconds. And I want to see, does Fusion play for that? Because the Siege is not really making any progress.
Nope. They're running around. The wave clear is pretty good. Shoving minions back from Sion and making them take increased damage is really big, even when the Baron buff is on. So they might wait for this Dragon. They have absolute control of the map on Fusion's side. Looking for a Death Rush here. But he's actually just going to go try chunk somebody out. Look at that damage.
Death LeBlanc by himself. Flares goes to half health. The Warmog Sion loses that much health in a one simple combo.
They're try to another ult.
He wants this. Can he get it, though? He's close to his team. Oh, no! He takes a wrong turn! Gets deleted by Otter. That's a 1-for-0. The disengage by the Janna. Frost Queen's claim actually gives his team some room, but Dragon's up in 12 seconds. Last time he died, it worked in that kind of scenario. This one, I think, is NME's drag for sure.
You would have to stall it for over 50 seconds to get Huhi back in here and able to steal it. And with Otter and the Callista Ren, this is almost surely a Dragon. They will have to trade an inhibitor for it, though, because Niantanso going to the back door.
So let's see. Morgana's recalling right now. Does have home guard boots, and it's going to be Nintendo looking for the steal. Unlikely to happen. There's the Rend. Now, inhibitor number 1 and looks like number 2 as well. John is here for the disengage as well. They dodge the binding. There's TP in by Sion. Double inhib.
They're going for the flank.
For the Dragon. Now, the flank is coming 20 seconds on Huhi. Can Trashy make this happen? He's got ulti. He pops it. How well can John disengage? Can she throw a tornado out? Chunky Fresh, the one getting jumped on. They land the binding. He's going to drop down. 2 minutes on Baron means no objectives to take. And Chunky Fresh, whoa! Throws it for a loop. Double slow might be enough. He lands a stun. Oh, no, Chunky Fresh. No. No, this isn't happening. Flash auto attack. Blows up the W. Flares does take the kill, but loses his flash for it.
The Soul Furnace claims another, and they're going to shove up this mid wave. Despite the fact that they don't have an inhibitor, they're going to be able to push the Super Minion back and get some damage on this turret.
Okay, Flares is a big tank. Thornmail, Randuin's, and the Frozen Heart means he can just rock to these turrets. 45 seconds on Aurelia. There's turret number 2 in the mid lane. They're looking for the inhibitor turret itself. They tank some of the poke coming out. Body drop. He's going to stay healthy enough. Flares puts the shield on, walks up to the turret. Down to half health already. They've got Dragon number 2, I believe, so the turret does drop rather fast. And now the inhibitor's open. 30 seconds on Aurelia. They're going to get this inhib as well. Will they keep going? The answer is yes. Enemy might be trying to close the game out. They feel so far behind. A gigantic wave is building in the top lane right now, and they will back out, but Huhi won't get much more.
You need to back out because Chunky Fresh still has his teleport, and it's a very easy flank for them if they had wards set up anywhere on the map. What a crazy just series of picks there by NME. Trashy going for an
Hold on.
Oh, he's going for another one. Who's
Nintendo
he
knows
on?
it's there. Janna's around. Nice knockup's gonna stop Trashy mid-jump. He can't get away in, and here comes the TP in for LeBlanc, but it's gonna be body drop going down right away. Riley's joined the fight, knocked back by Janna, and in goes Chunky Fresh. They find flares in the front line. He's getting chased, ult away, as a coward should be, but Chunky Fresh still wants in. Otter loses his flash, and Chunky Fresh is still there. He stuns flares. The chain is there. There's 2 kills for nothing in that fight, and Fusion still looking to chase in. Gigantic minion wave top lane. They could ride that into the Nexus, and they will likely do so. Charm doesn't mean much on Nintendo. They almost find Inox. They don't quite do so, but here's the double super minion wave. Nexus turret number 1 goes down. Nexus number 2 under fire. Trashing in the front line. 3 versus 5. I don't know if they can do it. Nexus now available. Down goes Trashy. Fusion looks like they will tie this series up 1-1 and put themselves also 2-2 in the standings.
And they take a game off of NME, the team that looks like the best in Challenger till today.
Yeah. Well, still a very strong team, but Fusion, couple of heart attack moments, I will give you, but they managed to play very well under pressure. What I will commend them for especially was in those last 2 minutes when someone gets picked off, you like want to defend turrets. You're like, can we defend inhib? Don't defend the inhib. Just don't lose the game defending the inhib. They seeded the inhibitor. They got away. NME, you said it was greedy. I agree with you. They slightly overstepped with the chance of closing the game out. They couldn't quite do it, but they stayed 20 seconds long. After killing the inhib, they could have retreated sooner, gotten ward control, and set up for Baron, and then been regrouped by the time Aurelia came back up. Them staying long enough said, let Fusion say, pull the trigger, go. All the gold they got off those turrets, they haven't bought yet. We can fight right now. Absolutely the right choice. Crush that team fight. Well played, Fusion. Yeah,
Fusion did a really good job of taking the advantages where they could, although NME misstepped a lot.
Yeah.
Trashy, he kept trying to force things. He kind of was going back to old Trashy from back when he was in Europe, where he just kept trying to force things, even though he doesn't have to. At that point, he's like, I'm going to jump in as Rengar. They had pink wards ready for him almost every time. And then Nintendo, when he's around on that Rek'Sai, very easy to see where he's coming from.
And the fact that he was getting unburrow knockups on Rengar jumps more than once this game was frickin' impressive by Nintendo. I know he's a player who'd been ridiculed a little bit in the LCS for having pretty lackluster performances on Coast, but this game looked real good from Nintendo. It shows why they wanted him on the roster. This is a team that had picked up Maknoon a while back. Like, they had the clout to pick up players with pedigrees like that, and they're like, we want Nintendo on this team. So people asked why. You see games like that, you understand why. Very impressed by his play. I'm just, you know, holding the thumbs up there. I'm a fan. That's really all I got to say about that. I'm just
tell
very
yourself.
impressive play. I will, in fact. We do have Nintendo here to talk to us about that victory. Nintendo, welcome to the broadcast, man.
Hi, thank you for having me.
And you heard us flattering you there for your play today. So you're the shot caller for the team, right? You're back in that spot, back on it. How is that transition coming back into the house working out for you?
I'm actually kind of like a co-shot caller with Nien. He does most of the late game stuff. I kind of just control the early mid game stuff. So we kind of make it work together. I'm sorry, what was the question again?
I just wanted to know, how's the transition getting back into the house? Because I knew you were out for a little bit, correct?
Yeah. When I was home, I mean, I enjoyed my break, but I had some medical issues to take care of. But I mean, coming back, you know, I just got my motivation back. I was gone from it. It's like I want to be back so bad, and I'm motivated, and I feel great.
Cool. You actually had really impressive gameplay here. You got like multiple knockups against, again, the Rengar coming in here. I want to actually ask you about how you feel about your own gameplay, because I said in the broadcast a second ago, I felt like you had gotten a pretty bad rep for your gameplay on Coast. You had a lot of deaths. It was kind of a weak season for your team. Do you feel like you're individually playing better, or is it your team supporting you, or what's causing you to have such a strong impact here in Challenger?
It's a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. I think a little bit of it is I am playing better. I mean, I'm more motivated back on Coast. We were losing a lot, so I mean, it was easy to, you know, not be as motivated to play solo queue, not work as hard in scrims. But now that I'm back, I'm working harder. And I mean, I have a really supportive team with me too, and it's a much better environment. And that's the other part is, you know, when you have 5 people working toward the same goal and want to improve, even like through losses, it's great.
Smack Nien for me in the back there.
They're just photobombing you over and over again. You saw like peace
Oh my
signs. He
God.
stuck his tongue out. Yeah, you can tell, right? What
but-
do you want to say to the trolls in your team?
Oh, man.
Trolls on my team.
Yeah.
I hate trolls. I don't know. I love these guys.
So,
That's fair.
so you keep talking about the motivation and how you lost it and you've gotten it back. What exactly is motivating you right now? Because you keep saying you've gotten your motivation back. What did it? Is it the fact that you're surrounded by people who are furthering you and making you better? But like, what is giving you that motivation?
I think after getting relegated on Coast, I was off for like 6 months until I joined Fusion, and I think I gained a lot of perspective in that time, and I realized I wasn't satisfied like with my career up to this point, and if I quit there, I could have been like it would have been okay, but like it's all about legacy at this point. Like I want to be remembered for something better. I want to be a great jungler, and like that's kind of how I was at the beginning of my career, and that's how I want to get back to now. Is I want to be as motivated. I want to be making big plays, picking weird picks. That's what I love to do, and it's all about that.
Well, you had a great performance today with some really awesome stuff, and looks like motivation's working for you. Last question for you is that next week you're up against TDK. They actually just 2-0'd their matchup. How do you feel against that team, and how do you feel matching up against Kez specifically?
TDK, I mean, the last 2 games they pick like crazy poke comps, and obviously Kyle's known for his Jace. So I mean, I don't want to say they're one-dimensional, but I think we will have them figured out and scouted well. And as far as stacking up against Kez, I mean, he didn't relegate me. That was Broken Shard. But he's a very vision-focused jungler, and honestly, I think a lot of his weaknesses are my strengths. Like he does not usually look to scrap early, and I don't think he's very good in early trades. And that's I think where I kind of excel. So I think I stack up well against Kez. I think we'll do fine against TDK. Hopefully 2-0 this time.
If your team keeps messing around like they are right now, you're going to stand no chance at all. Get those guys in shape.
My God.
Not even on their computers. They're just watching you. So you might be 1v5ing in your match next week. You're motivated, but good luck with that one. Nintendo, thank you for joining us. Great play today, man, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you so much.
All right, guys. Well, we're going to take ourselves one final break. When we come back, Final 5 in CLG Black will make it our last game of the night. Plus, we have highlights from the last game where one player went on a feeding frenzy. Find out who after this. 1-for-1, knock with the back line. Inox forced to run away, but Otter getting a bunch of damage through Chunky Fresh. One hit from Dead, but chased by Nintendo. But that's the wrong target. They will kill off Trashy all the same. Otter forced to back up, and a great collateral damage means the Itanso finds his second kill.
The charm!
Flash knockups and gets it, 1-for-0. Now Flares tries to hold up in the front line. Otter does what he can as well. Morgana gets a massive ulti, but gets pushed back. Nexus now available. Down goes Trashy. Fusion looks like they will tie this series up 1-1.